Shabbat Shalom, welcome back. We're going to continue where we left off with Revelation chapter 12 as we're studying the book of Revelation, and we've done 11 chapters, completed 11 chapters, and now we're in chapter 12, and we started off talking about the woman with the crown of 12 stars and the sun and moon under her feet. That is the nation of Israel, the chosen people. We talked about the baby she was having. That is the Messiah. We talked about the great red dragon that the devil represents, the devil, Satan, who is using the Edomites and the Romans to try to kill the Messiah. Welcome back. And then we talked about the woman fleeing into the wilderness. She brought forth a man child and she fled into the wilderness. Now, a couple of things I want to go over as we start now. Chapter 12 is an overview. Okay? Overview, which means it touches on key points, but it doesn't give you all the details. Okay, so for example, when it talks about the woman bearing the child, that is Messiah being born. It talks about the dragon wanting to kill him as soon as he's born. That is Herod, the Edomite, killing all the babies in Jerusalem, in Bethlehem from 2 years old and under, right? Then it skips ahead and it talks about this dragon casting out a third, causing a third of the heavenly host to be cast out of heaven. And it talked about the man-child who was destined to rule all nations. Now, when Messiah was born, he did not rule all nations. When he was born, first we know, as we read in Matthew chapter 2, the angel Gabriel warned Joseph, who was not the father, Joseph and Miriam, his mother, to flee to Egypt. He fled to Egypt, came back. Next time you see him, he's 12 years old teaching in the temple. Next time you see him after that, he's 30 years old getting baptized. Then you see his ministry, which is the majority of what the Gospels are about, the 3.5 years of his ministry, the 1,260 days, 42 months, 3.5 years of his ministry. Then he's crucified, betrayed, crucified, resurrected, and caught up to heaven. But here, verse 5, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto Yah and to his throne. So it skipped over all the stuff we just talked about and went right from him being born to his destiny as king of this earth and his ascension to the Father. It skipped over all the other stuff, and that's an overview. Okay, then it talked about the woman, which is the church, fleeing into the wilderness. It skipped over going into captivity. It skipped over the punishment. It skipped over the rejection of Messiah. It skipped over the early apostles. It skipped over all of that to go to the 144,000 and the last people. Okay, to the end. The woman fled into the wilderness. Okay, 3.5 years. And we talked about that in Revelation chapter 11, where the two witnesses prophesied in sackcloth for 3.5 years. Okay. And it said in Revelation 11, if you recall, measure the temple and them which worship therein, but the outer court leave out, given to the Gentiles. And they shall trod in the holy place underfoot for 3.5 years. Okay. And so the 3.5 years, somebody would say, well, how come it's not 1,260 years? Because the day and the year of Bible prophecy. True. But if you recall, when we got to Revelation chapter 10, there was an announcement made. I want to show you. There was an announcement made in Revelation chapter 10 by the Messiah. Revelation chapter 10, which is Messiah is represented by the angel with 1 foot on the earth and 1 foot on the ocean, on the sea, remember? And we saw Revelation chapter 10, verse 5 and 6. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things that therein are, that there should be time no longer. So those long-term time prophecies finished. That was the sixth seal, 1844. Those long-term 1,000-year time prophecies finished. And now you're dealing with literal time. The only time you get another time prophecy is when he talks about, for example, the plagues falling in one day, when he talks about an hour or silence about the space of half an hour. All of those are time prophecies that deal with the 144,000 in terms of the deliverance on the Sea of Glass. But on the earth, those time prophecies in terms of these long-term 2,000, that's over. So 3.5 years is 3.5 years. Okay, 3.5 years is 3.5 years. So now they prophesied for 3.5 years, and that during that time, the Gentiles trodden underfoot Yah's law. That's why the covenant. That's why I said the beast that rise up out of the bottomless pit kills the two witnesses, puts them to silence because they were rejected. The message was given. It said, "When they shall have finished their testimony." When they shall have finished their testimony. In other words, they ran the race they were supposed to run. The message was given by the 144,000. Then it's silent. No rain is given to the earth. Okay? It's silent. Then their enemies beheld them as they get resurrected, which is Messiah returning with the Ark of the Covenant, and they're being caught up. Say, we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed, right? We shall not prevent them which is asleep, also the Apostle Paul said, but we shall be caught up together with them to meet the Messiah in the air. It says that. And then you see them in Revelation 7, and in Revelation we're going to see in 15 on the Sea of Glass. We know the Sea of Glass is before the Father's throne. Before his throne, Revelation 4 tells us, is a sea of glass, clear as crystal. And we saw all the redeemed standing on the Sea of Glass. That's the first time we're all going to meet. All the redeemed, all the 144,000, it's the first time we're all going to be together on the Sea of Glass before the Father. Okay, so we're going to talk more about that. But here it skips over a lot of things and it goes right into the 3.5 years that the woman is prepared in the wilderness, to place in the wilderness for 3.5 years, right? That's us fleeing. That's us fleeing into the wilderness. We're in all different nations now. In all the nations, no matter what nation you look at, they all got mountains or woods or deserts, national forest, state forest, places in which we're going to be fleeing. Okay, no matter where it is, South America, continent Africa, Asia. Okay, all of them got wildernesses, got places we're going to be fleeing to. United States, Canada. There's no place on the earth where there's not wilderness, and we're going to be fleeing to those places. And he's going to provide. Yah is going to provide for us, protect us, keep us until we're caught up to meet the Messiah in the air. Okay, we're never going to meet in one large company until we're on the Sea of Glass, and then we'll all meet. Be a blessing, a great blessing. Blessing is understatement. So now, as we read those things, and it said she was there 1,260 days, the woman, the Israelite people, the true Israelite people, the righteousness by faith message of truth and righteousness, and those grafted in with them. It goes back in history and tells us how this whole thing began. Revelation chapter 12, and that's where we start today. Revelation chapter 12. It goes back in the history of time, and it tells us, how did this whole thing start? The thing I started off in the last segment telling you about the war. How did this war begin? What started this whole thing? It goes back in time to that. Again, this is an overview to show the reader what happened, how it happened, what started, what are the issues, and then it goes into more detail in chapter 13 and 14, and then 15 and 16. Okay, so let's and 17. So now Revelation chapter 12, beginning at verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So it started in heaven, not in some top of some mountain somewhere. Like some people think heaven is always the top of some mountain, although the Bible does reference heaven sometimes as the top of a mountain. But when you're talking about angels fighting or the Father's sanctuary or the tabernacle open, that's the third heaven. But Paul said, I can't even utter the things that I saw. Okay, that's the third heaven. So there was war in the third heaven. That's how this all started. There was a war there. And Michael, one like the Most High, one who represents the Most High, was fighting. Obviously, if Messiah is fighting, he's fighting on behalf of the Father. Obviously, we already read in Isaiah chapter 14, where and I want to show you this. Let's go back because there's something there I want you to see in Isaiah chapter 14. There's something there I want you to see that we did go over, but I didn't stress this part that I want to stress now as we're studying this right now. Isaiah chapter 14. Okay, starting at verse 12. Really, in verse 13 is the key point here. But let's look at verse 12 first and go to verse 14. Actually, down to verse 15. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, this is the key here. I want you to listen to this now. Thou hast said in thine heart. It did not say he verbalized this. This was his plan, his inward thought, his inward plan. It wasn't shared with anybody. In other words, he did not start this war in heaven by telling all the angels, I want to be like the Most High. He kept that to himself. Okay. All of his plans, all of his laid plans for war were based on this, but he never verbalized that. Why is that important? Because his true aims were not known. Just like with Eve, when he met with Eve at the tree, he did not say to Eve, I want to be the Most High. You can tell her that. What did he do instead? He called Yah a liar. He said, ye shall not surely die. He said Yah was holding Eve back. He said, you can be gods who eat of this tree. He did not state his true aim. And isn't that what a lot of traitors do? Isn't that what a lot of people that are subversive do? They never come at you with their true aim. They're never clear. They're never transparent. Isn't that what politicians do? They never come with their true aim. They always come with something else, but it's going to accomplish their true aim. Right? So this is what Asatan did. He said in his heart, thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. That was his thought. That was his plan that he never verbalized. It was said in his heart. But you understand what we talked about when we talked about Second Corinthians or the First Corinthians. I think it was First Corinthians chapter 4, where he said the Most High says through Paul, he's going to judge the intents of the heart. Right? Let's take a look at that. I think it's First Corinthians chapter 4. Yeah, First Corinthians chapter 4, verse 5. Therefore, judge nothing before the time until Yahweh come, who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness and make manifest the counsels of the hearts. Then shall every man have praise of Yah, because the Most High can judge every man's heart. That's why I can look at David and say he's a man after my own heart when nobody else recognizes it, because he looks through us, he knows everything about us, and he knows what kind of character we are, what our end result is going to be. He knows all of it. Nothing is hid from him. Okay, so when Satan's thinking in his heart, I want to be like the Most High, our Father in heaven knows that. It's not hidden from him. And yet, when Satan deceived a third of heaven's angels, he would never verbalize that. That wasn't the aim. When he deceived Eve, he never verbalized that. He never said that was his aim. He said, Yah's lying to you, and he's holding you back. That's what he did. Okay? So he never verbalizes his true aims. So the war started in the third heaven with Satan deceiving those with his tail, he's the prophet that teaches lies, deceiving those that were followers of Yah from their creation, and never verbalizing what his true aim is, never letting anybody know the secret of what he really wanted. Okay? So there was war in heaven. Mikael, of course, being one with the Father, being the Father's representative, he also would know what Satan's true aims are. That's why he said he's a liar and a murderer from the beginning, he said. From the beginning, from the third heaven, he became a liar. Because he was verbalizing one thing, but his thoughts and his plans were something quite different. Beware that you and I don't do the same thing, brother. That we always are honest and sincere with our Father in heaven, and that we ask Him, is it me? Am I sincere? Please show me the truth about myself. You have to do that because we're all prone to deceive ourselves. We're all prone to do that. Okay, we're all prone to do that. So we want to come to the Father. That's why Asatan hates the Father, because the Father can see him. He can see exactly who he is. That's why Messiah said he is the light of the world. He that walk in darkness come to him and walk in the light of life. And he said the ones that love light will come to the light, that their deeds may be made manifest. The ones that hate the light will want to walk in darkness because they don't want their deeds to be made manifest. They want to front. And this world is filled with people that front, as we all know. Okay, so Revelation chapter 12, verse 7, 8, and 9. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angel, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angel were cast out with him. So there was war, and he was cast out. And the Bible says about him that he deceiveth the whole world. That will include you and me. Whenever we are awakened to the present truth, we're awakened because of the Father's spirit of righteousness and because we're willing to receive it. Because when we come to truth, it's because we have come out of deception. Called out people, ecclesia, called out of Egypt, but called out of deception and false gods as well. That's why, remember that Joshua, when he had led the children of Israel into the promised land, he said, you want to worship the gods on the other side of the flood, the idols of your fathers back in Egypt? And they said no, because they were called out. That's the church, called out from deception. Called out. Okay? Called out from deception. That's the church. Called out by the Spirit of the Father through Messiah. Called out. Ecclesia. Okay? But the devil deceives the whole world, which is why only a remnant are going to be saved. We talked about a third of the Israelite chosen and a sixth of the heathen are going to make up the kingdom. A sixth of the heathen and a third of the Israelites are going to make up the kingdom, because everyone has been deceived, and the people that want the deception, that's what the Bible says, he shall send strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they may all be damned who had not a love for the truth. Again, this is all about our Father's honor. The devil is calling him a liar, and he's got billions of people believing that. He deceives the earth, and only a remnant is taken up for the Father as the righteousness of truth. You in one of these denominations and you know it's not truth, and your excuse is, well, no church is perfect. You're a liar. You're a liar. Father is perfect. His righteousness is perfect. And his children that are covered in the robe of his righteousness are declared perfect, not because they are in and of themselves, but because of his righteousness, because of his spirit. You in one of these churches where you're worshiping a white Jesus and you know he's not white, and you know your people started that, you're a liar. You're going to be lost. Don't deceive yourself. You one of these people that think Yah's covenant is done away with? We're going to talk more about that, but you're a liar. If I was to say Yah's covenant is done away with, I'd be a liar like you. I'm not. I'm going to say that because I want the truth. This is what this is about. This is not about sitting in a pew somewhere, not about writing a check to some reverend or pastor or denomination or conference. This is not about a white prophet from Maine or a white one from Utah. This is not about Watchtower in Brooklyn. This is not about Mecca and Saudi Arabia. This is about the Holy Father of all, above all, who created all, and righteousness and truth from him. Not complicated. You want to know what it is? Ask him. He'll tell you. It's going to hurt, though. He's going to hurt. because there's a lot to unlearn and a lot to learn. That's what it's all about, brethren. Are you willing to unlearn and learn again? Because we have to unlearn deception and learn truth. Painful process because it hurts our pride. And yet, it yields what the Bible says, the peaceable fruit of righteousness, and gives the glory to the Father, which all the people of the earth that are truly Father's people, that's our only goal, to give glory to the Father who has been disrespected by Asatan. Our Father has been called a liar by the devil. Therefore, we don't want anything to do with anything that has to do with a lie, because it dishonors our Father. Worst thing you could do to a father is dishonor him. Revelation chapter 12. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angel and prevailed not. Neither was there place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Verse 10. And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Most High and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. Let me explain to you. Obviously, when Asatan met Eve at the tree, there was war already done. They were cast out because now he's in opposition to the Most High. He's openly calling him a liar. So that war already happened, right? But Asatan, when he was there at the tree with Eve, as you read the scriptures, he still had access to the courts of heaven. You say, what? Yeah, remember? Okay, watch Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1. Job chapter 1. And let's read from Job chapter 1 from verse 6 down to verse 8. Job chapter 1, verse 6 to 8. Now there was a day when the sons of Yahweh came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. And Yahweh said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth, from working up and down in it. What he's saying is, I am the God of the earth. So I'm representing one of your sons as a God of the earth. I lead the earth. That's what he was saying. Verse 8. And Yahweh said to Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Yah and escheweth evil? He said, you're not representing me on the earth. Job is. Have you not considered Job? And that's when the whole temptation of Job began. That's when the whole thing began. It began with Satan accusing Job, accusing him, which is why he's called, as we're going to see in a few minutes, Satan is called what? The accuser of the brethren. He's called the accuser of the brethren, right? So that was between the time that the war happened and later. Now, he permanently, as we're going to read in a few minutes, he permanently was cast out and never could come into the courts again after Messiah's crucifixion. After Messiah was hung on that tree, he could never come back. That's when we're going to see that. That's when the Bible says, now he's cast out and he's cast to the earth, and woe to the earth, because he can't come back and accuse the brethren anymore. See, he was there to accuse with Moses. He was trying to accuse Job, right? And I got another one too. Wait, I got one more. Watch, let me show you this. Wait a minute. It's in, hold on one second. So much in the First and Second Kings and First and Second Chronicles. There's so much history there Hold on. Let me find the scripture, man, real quick, because hold on. Hold on. Let me find the scripture. Because I want to share this one with you. Yes, it's First Kings chapter 22. First Kings chapter 20. That's what I want. First Kings chapter 20. I'm sorry, I had to look it up because I don't want to waste too much time with this. But watch First Kings chapter 22. And there was a prophet named Micaiah in the northern kingdom. Okay, he was in the northern kingdom, and Ahab was the king. Okay, so here, that's the scene. Ahab's the king. Micaiah is a prophet. Micaiah is rejected by Ahab because he's following the prophets of Baal. Okay. So watch this now. In First Kings chapter 22. So now the kingdom of the king of the southern kingdom, um, which was Hezekiah, or no, Jehoshaphat, he was there going to help this heathen king of the northern kingdom, which he shouldn't have did, right? But now watch this, verse 5. And Jehoshaphat, which is the kingdom of Judah, said unto the king of Israel, inquire, I pray thee, at the word of Yahweh today. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, go up, for Yahweh shall deliver it into the hand of the king. So he asked his prophets, should he go for this battle? And they said, yeah, go. You're gonna win. But then look what Jehoshaphat said in verse 7. And Jehoshaphat said, is there not a prophet of Yahweh besides that we might inquire? Because those were prophets of Baal. He says, is there a prophet of Yahweh? Because he was the king of the southern kingdom. He wanted to hear from a prophet of Yahweh. He says, is there not a prophet of Yahweh that we can inquire? In verse 8, and the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Amlah, by whom we may inquire of Yahweh, but I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. Because he was prophesying truth. Jehoshaphat, Ahab hated him. Sound familiar, doesn't it? But wait a minute. Let's skip down. Verse 17. Here's Micaiah is telling him what's going to happen. And I saw all Israel scattered upon hills as sheep that have not a shepherd. And Yahweh said, these have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, hear thou therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him, on his right hand, on his left. Watch this now. And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth, watch this now, and there came forth a spirit and stood before Yahweh and said, I will persuade him. And Yahweh said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him. Prevail also, go forth and do so. And that's what happened. He ended up dying. But the point is, a lying spirit came up and said, I'm going to persuade him. That Asatan. He's a lying spirit. Okay? And he said, I'm persuaded. Why would he? Because he's worshiping Baal. Already worship Asatan. He's not with the Most High. So he's worshiping Baal. He said, I'm going to put a lying spirit. So Asatan at that time was able to come back to the kingdom, to the throne, and talk to Father and accuse the brethren and say, I'm gonna help people die. He was able to do that. But after the cross, after Messiah was hung on the tree, he could not do that anymore. It was over. At that point, he was cut off from the third heaven. And that's when he really got angry. Back to Revelation chapter 12. Back to Revelation chapter 12. Verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our Most High, and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Most High day and night. See, he was the accuser of the brethren. He accused Job. He accused Moses. He said, I'm going to go get Ahab killed. He was a lying spirit and accuser of the brethren. Okay? That's Asatan. And it said, Now has come salvation and strength, the power of the Most High Yahweh and of his Messiah. Why was the Messiah mentioned? Because the power, remember what Messiah said to the Father? Father, the hour is come. Glorify thy Son, that thy Son may glorify thee. And Father said, I will both glorify it and will glorify it again. What was he saying? Because that's the night he was going to be betrayed and put to death. Okay? And he's glorifying the Father and being put to death and becoming sin for his people, Israel. He's giving glory to the Father. He is redeeming his chosen. And through his chosen redeemed ones, he is redeeming the human race, a remnant of the whole human race being redeemed because Father was glorified in Messiah. At that night, at that time, once Messiah was crucified and resurrected, Satan had no more access to the third heaven. Whereas before, he can accuse Job, he can say what he's going to do to Ahab, right? He can try to stop them from resurrecting Moses. Now, done. And that's when the game went to a new level. That's when the whole war went to a new level, because now he's cut off. Look, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. You guys can rejoice in the third heaven. He's never coming back up there to y'all. Verse 12. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Once he could no longer get to the heavenly course, the countdown was underway. He knew then his time is up. He's done. He could not leave the atmosphere of the earth. Done. Okay, he can go into wherever you see men go. That's where Satan goes. They put something on Mars, he can go there. But he can't leave any place else. You don't see it. They can't go to the third heaven. He can't go to the third heaven. And that makes him very angry, as his followers. His followers get angry at truth. Have you noticed that? His followers get angry when truth is spoken to them. His followers want to attack when truth is spoken to them, when they don't get their way. That's Satan. Okay, that's what he does. He's the father of lies and murder. Okay, so that is why he says that they overcame Satan by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Testimony, the word of their witness. It's the same word as witness, maturo, where you get the word martyr. The Greek is maturo. The word means witness. They overcame Satan by the blood of the Lamb. That is the sacrifice of Messiah for the Hebrew and their witness. What are they witnessing? Well, it's the same thing that Messiah. They mentioned of Messiah here. It's the same thing that Messiah's witness. What is the faith of Messiah? What is Messiah's faith? The Bible says the faith of Messiah is the righteousness of Yah. Remember, the gospel of Messiah is the righteousness of Yah revealed. So that these people that overcome Satan overcome because Messiah's blood allows them to be witnesses of Father's righteousness and bear witness of the truth. Okay, that's how we overcome Satan. We bear witness of the truth by the Spirit, the Spiritu de Justicia, the Spirit of righteousness from the Father. The Spiritu de Justicia. Spirit of righteousness from the Father. We bear witness to the truth. Okay, we bear witness to the truth. And that's how we overcome Satan. That's how we overcome his deceptions in his lives. And that's what makes us enemies to planet Earth, makes us enemies in our own families, in our own households, in our own town, city, church, whatever. It's what makes us have to be by ourselves, because we bear witness to the truth. Messiah said, they that are of the truth, hear my voice. Okay. So now he's angry. He's furious. The Bible says he's enraged. Okay. Verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. The woman is Israel. He persecuted Israel. How did he do that? Slavery. Who enslaved the Israelites? Christians and Muslims enslaved the Israelites. Who enslaved the Israelites? Christians and Muslims. Why would any Israelite, any true Hebrew want to be a Muslim or a Christian? Well, it's because they don't know who they are. If you understood who you were from the Bible, you would never be a Muslim or a Christian. You would never be the one follow the God of those that enslaved you, that Asatan has used to enslave you, to castrate your men. Do you know during the sub-Saharan slave trade, right now, as I'm speaking to you, there are Israelites, dark-skinned people in Iran and Iraq that are remnants of the sub-Saharan slave trade, whose men were castrated. You say if they castrate, how do they reproduce? Because the Arabs raped the women. And what they did that was different than what most of the ones over here in the West did, is if they had children with the women, they would actually make the children part of the family. But the original men, they castrated. When they captured them, they castrated and let them die. Made them slaves and servants until they died. Didn't have no children. But the women they took and raped and had babies with, they would make them. So to this day, you have classes of people in those, especially in Iran, you have classes of people in Iran that the lowest class are the Hebrews, just like the United States. Isn't that amazing? So you had sub-Saharan slave trade with the Muslims. You had the Christian slave trade, which across the Atlantic slave trade, that went from all the Europeans, the Portuguese, the Spaniards. That's why you got Spanish-speaking nations. That's from slavery. The Portuguese, the Spaniards, the French, and of course, the English. And let's not forget the Belgians. Leopold cutting people's right hands off. And see, everybody that wants to act like this stuff is all past and doesn't matter, you're a liar. All of our whole beings are just simply parts of our history put together in us. Everything we are is a result of our history. Everything that is happening now is a result of the war and the history of the war. What you're going to be judged on is your history. What did you do in the past? That's what you're going to be judged on. So people that want to act like slavery, that it was in the United States, well, it doesn't matter anymore, you keep lying to yourself, because it's going to come up to you in the judgment. Even though you weren't there, your fathers were. It's going to come up to you in the judgment. Okay? So you want to act like it doesn't matter? You're a liar. They're all liars that say those things. Okay? Because everything all of us are just products of our history. All of us. For good or for evil. Which is why we respond by repentance toward Yah for our sins and the sins of our fathers. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their life unto death. And when he saw that he was cast to earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. So it all works together. The prophecy of us being scattered into the four corners of the earth, the prophecy of our captivity, and this attack from Satan against us is all harmonized by the Father's foreknowledge. Okay? All harmonized. And he's going to now deliver through 144,000 a remnant of people. Okay? Yes. I'd rather be me. I'd rather not be one of them that have to give. See, it's hard when you are born with an advantage into our society, and you've had this advantage for 2,000 years, you've had an advantage. It's hard for you to first admit that this is prophetic. You just received this because Father gave it to you. That's what Messiah told Pilate. Didn't he tell Pilate? He said, you would have no power at all except it was given you from above. He said, therefore, he that delivered me to you has the greatest sin. Didn't Messiah tell that to Pilate? You sons of Yefet wouldn't have anything except it was delivered to you. Now your time is coming to an end. It's hard to admit because now you've been thinking you're gods the whole time. You know, everything is set up. You create history that you're the creators of everything. And now it's coming to an end. And most of the people, I think the children of Yefet will be honest, and the ones that are redeemed will be honest and say, yeah, that's true. They don't want to understand that the time is coming to an end, it's fulfilled, and their power will not last forever, and it's coming to a conclusion. And that the dark people that was in them chains, living in the slave quarters, They're the ones that are the chosen. You don't want to admit that, except your followers of truth. That's why it's not even about anything except, like I said, you can't control where you're born, who you're born by, what color you are, what you look like, what height you are, what country you're born. You can't control any of that. You can control whether you're going to choose truth or not, though. You can control that. You can control whether you're going to be on Father's side or not. You can control it, no matter what color you are. And the Bible already showed us a remnant of everybody's going to be saved. A remnant's coming. A remnant of Edomites, a remnant of heathens, a remnant of Israelites, a remnant of sons of Japhet. His print is going to be a rainbow. But listen, you know we're going to get new bodies, right? Hey, you know why I laugh? Because some of y'all that's pale white are going to get some color to your skin. You're going to get a new body. It's not going to be the pale. And it's not going to be dark black like what happened to some. Some got dark as night and some got white as a sheet. We're going to all be the color that we're destined to be, that Adam was supposed to be. All of us. Going to get new bodies. You're going to have color. Okay? It's going to be a new thing, man. And yet we're all going to be different, just like the stars are all different. And we'll all have unique names, just like the stars have unique names. Just like every snowflake is different. All of us will be different. No two people will have the same name. Okay? Amazing, isn't it? Beautiful, man. Okay. Now, okay, so he persecuted the woman that brought forth the man child. Verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, times, and half a time from the face of the servant. That's again 3.5 years, 1,260 days, 42 months. There it is again. Okay, it's mentioned so many times. It's crazy. It's mentioned in here in verse 6. It's mentioned in chapter 11. Okay, it's going to be mentioned in chapter 13. All right. So, brethren, I mean, he's hammering that one home. 3.5 years. So the question would be asked, as Daniel wanted to know about the 2,300 years. Remember, Daniel wanted to know about, when does this begin? This 2,300 year period. When is this starting? It's long. And the angel says, shut it up right now, Daniel. You're not going to know. Daniel was sick until it was told to. Right? So now we want to know, when does that 3.5 year period begin? I'm telling you, watch 2027. See, a lot of people, I was just hearing some people talking about September 23rd, 2017, and people were, I don't know, they were doing some stuff about stars and skies and Christian stuff. I don't know. But I will tell you this, 2027 is the 40th Jubilee from AD 27. AD 27 is when Messiah said, he's preaching the acceptable year of Yahweh. That is the year of Jubilee. The acceptable year is the year of Jubilee. Okay. That was so therefore he preached that was the Jubilee. His beginning of his 3.5 year, 1,260 day, 42-month ministry was the Jubilee. AD 27. And he preached for exactly 3.5 years. But this 2027 is exactly the 40th Jubilee from that time. And Moses said that he used the number 40 to say he tested the Israelites. He tested you in the wilderness for 40 years. Before that, he sent you into the promised land. And if you read that carefully, there's 2 versions. There's the Numbers version where it says Moses sent them, but then there's Deuteronomy chapter 1 and 2 where it tells them they came to Moses. So before we go in there, let us spy it out first. They asked Moses. And it was tested for 40 days. 40 days. Okay, and only Joshua and Caleb came back with a good report after the test. And then after 40 years, all of the unbelievers were killed in the wilderness, died in the wilderness, and their children came in the promised land, except Joshua and Caleb. Test 40. This is the 40th Jubilee, 2027. The Jubilee takes place. Listen, the 10th day of the 7th month. The Day of Atonement is also every 50th year, the Jubilee. The Day of Atonement is the Jubilee. The day where all debts are forgiven every 7 years on the Day of Atonement, the 10th day of the 7th month. On September 23rd, 2017, it was the 10th day of the 7th month in the Hebrew year. It was hard, not the 10th. I'm sorry, that was wrong. It was the first day of the 7th month. That is the blowing of trumpets. It's not a feast of trumpets. Don't ever call it a feast of trumpets if you want to follow the Bible. The Bible never calls the first day of the 7th month the Feast of Trumpets. It's not a feast. It's very important to understand that, because it's what it is a warning to prepare for the 10th day of the 7th month, which is the most important solemn day of the year, the Day of Atonement, the day of the cleansing of the sanctuary, the 10th day of the 7th month. Okay? That was September 23rd, 2017. It was the blowing of trumpets. Prophetically speaking, if you go 10 years, you go to 2027, which is also the 40th Jubilee. Watch 2027. That's all I'm saying. Watch it. Well, all I can tell you is this, and the Most High is making this clear to me as everybody else is, there are other brothers that are preaching similar things, maybe slightly different from what I'm saying, but all of us agree on a couple of things. All of the brothers that I'm hearing that are out here on YouTube preaching stuff that I believe are also part of 144,000, we agree on a couple of things. We know who the Israelites are. We know who the true Messiah is, that he's not a Caucasian man. We understand that the end of the age for the Gentiles is being fulfilled. All of us understand that. And as we get closer, we're going to get closer in our agreement of the prophecy. As we get closer to the actual return. Because when we're standing on the sea of glass, 100% all of us are going to agree with no difference. We're going to speak with one voice. As it comes time for the 144,000 to give a final message, all of his people, all of his 144,000 are going to speak with one voice. We're all being led to that right now. But all of us are agreeing on the things I just mentioned. The end of the Gentile age is here. It's coming. Messiah is about to return. The kingdom is going to be established. The Israelites are the slaves. Okay? Messiah looks like them and they look like him. We're all agreeing on those things because we're all being brought to the same point. Okay? All being brought to the same point. It doesn't appear that way now, but we all see it. We all see it. Okay? Now, Revelation chapter 12. Verse 14 again. To the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time, times and a half, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. The flood, the water, Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So when he cast out water, he's sending armies, international armies, like armies from that represent United Nations armies. And they're coming after us to kill us. But they don't get us. Earth swallowed up the water. The word, and the earth helped her, verse 16. The earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. He's going to protect us. The example, the biblical example, and there's always a biblical example. The biblical example is Elijah, which is representing also, as I mentioned earlier, Elijah and Moses representing 144,000. So Elijah was being hunted. Remember what the servant told him when he said, I'm going to show myself to Ahab today? He said, he's looking every nation for you. He's looking every nation trying to find you. Not to say hi. He wanted to kill him. But he couldn't find him. And the Most High said, go to a certain brook. And the Bible said twice a day, a bird would bring him flesh to eat twice a day. And then when the brook dried up, he went to a woman as a Zarepta, a widow. And the Most High provided for him and the woman and her son during the whole 3.5 years. That's the 144,000. Okay, that's it. They're going to try to kill us. We're representing rebellion against the established order because of what we believe. Isn't that amazing? Because we believe in the Creator and in his covenant with his chosen people and in his spirit of perfection of righteousness. Because of that, we're in rebellion against the liar. And that's going to cause him to want to kill us. Okay, that's going to cause him to want to kill us. That's it. But the Most High provides for us. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about, oh, when should I leave? Should I buy some land now? You don't have to worry about that. All we need to concern ourselves with is, are we listening to the Spirit of the Father, and are we attentive to his word? Look, Lot, the Apostle Kepha called Lot a righteous man while he was in Sodom and Gomorrah. And notice what happened. On the night the angel was sent, the two angels were sent to destroy the place. What did they do? They went to Lot's house. And they said, you got to leave tonight, bro. You got to leave tonight. And Lot said, wait, let me go get my children. So he went to go tell. He had daughters. Apparently, he had all daughters. So he went and he tells his daughters. Apparently, he had more than just the two that became Moab and Ammon later. He had others. And he went to his sons-in-law, the Bible said, you got to leave tonight. The place going to be destroyed. And they laughed him to scorn. And he would not leave. He kept telling until the angel had to grab him and lead him out the city. He said, run. Now, if he did that for Lot, he's certainly going to do that for the 144,000 and those that stand at the end. You ain't got to worry about where you are. He's going to lead you. He's going to lead you. All you got to do is be attentive to his voice. And you will be as you seek the Father's truth and his spirit, as you seek repentance on a daily basis. He's going to lead you. And I will tell you one thing for a certainty. You're going to be leaving your family. You're going to be away from your family. There's no question about that. You're going to have to leave your family. Many of you are going to leave husbands, wives, children. And it ain't me telling you that. You're going to see the Spirit of the Most High going to guide you. He's going to cause you. You're going to have to go. And he's going to show you where you got to go. He's going to show you where you got to go. You ain't got to worry about that. Don't worry. Don't say, oh, I hear people like, oh, you got to buy land. You got to get away before it hits the fan. That's a bunch of crap. There is angels, and they will lead you. Just like they did Lot. They will lead you. Just like they did the whole nation out of Egypt. They'll lead you. You don't have to worry about that. Our concern is with the glory of the Father and his righteousness. And brethren, let me tell you something. If you love the Father, and he said to you, I want you to go in the middle of New York City and proclaim my word, and they killed you. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. But he's not going to do that. He's going to lead you out when it's time. It's not your time and my time. It's his time. When he leads you, you'll go because you'll be listening to him. You'll be listening to him. When he leads you, you'll go wherever it is. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to leave family. You see, listen, man. He told Abraham when his name was Abraham, leave your father's house. Leave your father's. Didn't he say that? He said, leave your father's house. And Abraham was listening to his word. That's why he said it was accounted to him for righteousness. And he left his father's house. Leave your father's house. Okay? Jeremiah had to leave Jerusalem and go to the wilderness because they're going to try to kill him. And he had Baruch deliver the messages because they won't kill Jeremiah if they seen him. Elijah already mentioned. Okay? So, brethren, that pattern is going to continue. You're going to have to leave. But when it's time, don't try to think for the Most High and strategize for him. And believe me, I know I'm a planner. I'm an analyst by trade and by nature. I analyze things. And sometimes I'm always planning. My wife said, what you doing? I'm planning and analyzing all the time. And it's stupid because I know he's going to leave me. I did not plan to come to Washington, D.C. I did not. I did not plan to come here. He gave me a dream and said, I'm sending you here. And I was resistant. I did not have any desire to come to this city at all. But I'm glad I did because he sent me here. And he's soon going to turn me out. I'm not worried about it. Because wherever he leads me, like I got desires, right? Like, I don't like being, I lived in New Hampshire for 5 years, man. Believe me, I don't want to if I don't see another snowflake, if I don't see no more ice and snow, man, I would be happy. And so when I left New Hampshire and he sent me down here to Virginia, just because of that, I was happy. Even though I was looking at someplace warmer. Virginia is much warmer than New Hampshire, let me tell you. But if he was to send me to Anchorage, Alaska, I would go because that's where he's sending me. You understand? Wherever he sends you, you're going to go. And wherever he sends you is the best place for you to be because he's ordained it for you. So right now in the D.C. area is the best place for me to be. He's ordained it for me. Okay? Can't fight him if you're gonna be obedient to the Father. You can't fight him. And you can't try to plan for him. Don't ever do that. I'm telling you, let him plan. Just trust him and trust his word. He's gonna guide you. Okay? He's gonna guide you. Now, of course, you'll end up having to make a decision. If he says to you, I'm sending you, which he said to me, gave me a dream, and whenever he tells you, listen, when he tells you something twice, it's established. That's Bible. He says he came to Solomon twice. He told Job, yea, Yah speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. Okay, so he told me twice, I'm sending you far hence. That's why I know I'm going to some other country. I don't even know where. But he sent me somewhere else. And I know it's not Ghana because I wanted to go there. I was just talking to my boy from Ghana yesterday. I wanted to go visit. I still might visit, but I know he's not sending me there, much as I like to. He's sending me somewhere, though. I know it. See? And he will show me where and when. It's not up to me. It's not to me. It's not up to you. He's going to show you where and when. And it's the best place for you, wherever it is. However strange it is, it's the best place for you. Okay? Trust your Father. He knows. He knows what he's doing. All right? He don't make mistakes. Unlike what Asatan lies about, our Father never, ever makes a mistake. Ever. Messiah never makes a mistake. Okay? When you see mistakes, it's because of disobedience. That's what it is. Disobedience causes mistakes. All right? Father don't make none. Trust him. He's going to lead you where you got. You ain't got to worry about these things. Just concern yourself with staying close to the Father, with being sealed in his truth and his spirit of righteousness. That's the only concern we have. Really is. Being true to his word. That's it. So let's finish this. Verse 16 and 17. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. The remnant of her seed. Did you catch that? So the woman is Israel. Israel had a seed. But the dragon was fighting against the remnant of her seed, what's left of her seed at the end. See how it goes? It's a synopsis, so it's giving you the end. He's fighting with us. Why? Which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony or the witness of Yahweh. That is very important. We do not see, there's many churches, SDA, Church of God, Seventh Day Baptist, Seventh Day Pentecostal, that will claim to keep the commandments of Yah as Christian churches. Nope. Nope. Y'all should know by the gospel. How do you keep the commandments of Yah? By the gospel. How do you do that? I am not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah, for it is the power of Yah unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For therein is the righteousness of Yah revealed. It's only by the power of his set apart, perfect righteousness in his spirit that you can be accounted as someone that keeps the commandments. You cannot join a Christian denomination. In fact, by doing that, it will ensure that you can't keep his commandments because now you're following man. You can't obey the commandments of Yah and follow man. You can't do it. The Bible says, cease ye from man. All these Christian denominations are man-made institutions. They can desire to keep the commandments all they want. They never will. They never will be accounted as that because they're man-made institutions. The testimony of the Master Yahweh Shah is the Father's perfect righteousness. That's his witness, right? The witness of Messiah is Father's righteousness. That is his faith. So in other words, in order to be accounted as somebody that obeys Yah's commandments, you have to receive of his spirit of righteousness. First, the Israelites get that, and then they cause the rest of the earth to get it. The apostles were the first to receive the early reign of the Father. Remember? And what happened? When the apostles would lay hands on people, because they were the Hebrews with the truth, the people who they lay hands on would also receive the Spirit of the Father. Okay? So this is what separates the true remnant people. They're Israelites. They're not Christians. They're not in any Christian denomination. They're not Muslims. They're not Buddhist or Hindu. They're Israelites, either by blood or by grafted in process through Messiah. And they are trusting in Father's perfection of righteousness in order to bring him glory by obedience through that righteousness. Remember what he said? A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. By the way, he was speaking only to Israelites there. Read it. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my commandments and statutes. You shall keep my judgments and do them by his spirit, not by might. Remember the two witnesses, not by might nor by power, but by his spirit. There's a spirit of perfection, of righteousness and holiness, which we get as a gift through repentance in order to bring glory to the Father by obedience. That's the remnant. I know it's simple, right? You think everybody want to do that. They're so pious and go to these churches with Bibles under their arms, but no. People want the praise of men before the praise of Yah. That's an old one. They love the praise of men before Yahweh. Okay? Otherwise, you receive the truth. But the remnant are going to receive the truth because it says it right here. The remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony or the witness, maturo, of Yahushua, Messiah. Witness, maturo, that is willing to die. So, brothers and sisters, we'll finish like this. You can either die to self or you can die the second death. That's what it comes down to. We either die to self. John said he must increase, I must decrease. We receive that spirit of righteousness. He declares us righteous, and we know we're not. It's because of him, Father Yahweh, through Messiah, his son. That's who we are. Those are Israelites that do that. Either grafted in to the olive tree, or bloodline from Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. I pray that you are one of them, either grafted in or bloodline believing in the Father's perfect righteousness and obedience to his commandments through Messiah's witness. Shalom.